we have our source information ready, we've created a paper and a unit within it, so now we can start to create our source. And the first thing to do is to go into the unit where you want that source to be. In my case, it's objects. Now, it does give you an option when you're adding your first source of the unit to just click here to add a source, and that'll take us through to the Create Source page. But the best thing to do is to go to this Edit button here so that you're editing the unit, and this will show you how to add your first, second, third, fourth source. It's just a bit more flexible. So we go down to Sources, which is below Attachments, and click Add New Source. And you'll see that it takes us to the same page that we saw before. First thing we want to do now that we're actually on the Create Source page is to add a title. In my case, it's going to be an ivory diptych sundial, which I've made before elsewhere, so it comes up nice and handily here. The second thing we want to do is to add source media, which is an image of the object, a map relating to it, any kind of visual information you want to add about it. And to do so, you click Add Another Item. These plus signs will appear here, and I want to add my first one here, and it takes us through to the Create Source Media page. And the first thing that I want to add is a really clear image of the object that the source is about. So it's going to be the same thing, so I'm going to have the same title, Ivory Diptych Sundial, and now I'm going to add my image. So I've got my source information ready in this folder, and I have a file on that individual object, and I'm going to drag my first image over. And we can see the text has changed, so it's recognized it. Next, it asks me a few bits of information about this particular source media, and you can add it if you like. You don't really need to if you're just having multiple images of the same object, but usually the more information you can include, the better. So I'm going to add the copyright, so that when people click on the image, they know that the image belongs to this museum. And then you go to the bottom and you click Save. So now our source has a title and an image. The last thing we want to do before we create the source and to save the source in the first instance is to add the admin metadata. Now this doesn't always come up when we look at the source on Cabinet, but it's really important because when you're looking or searching for a source, this is going to be the data that search is governed by. So I have the admin metadata ready in a Google Doc, in a Word document, and all I need to do is paste it over. Now you might not have all of this information, or it could not be relevant. For instance, you could not have the dimensions of the piece, but if you just fill out as much information as possible, then that's really useful. And now that I've put in all of the admin metadata, so all the basic information about the object, I'm going to click Save. And it's important to remember that we've just saved all of the object information, but we haven't yet saved everything, the progress that you've made on that unit. So it will take us back to this page, and then the safest thing to do is to scroll to the bottom and save again. And here we have our source, which we've just created. And if you want to find out how you can make the source a bit more elaborate and add more information, I'll be explaining that in the next video.